Hey guys, Craig McCormick here from DestructivePixels.com and welcome to another Q&A. Now today I've got 3 really good questions, so let's jump straight in. Okay, so as I said, I have 3 questions, and the first one up here is from a lady called Diane Arnold. Now I have to apologize up front. This was actually sent in the middle of May, and I just never got around to it, so I'm really sorry about this, but it is a really good question that I actually quite like, and it's about a topic which I have a very fun nerdiness about it. So it's actually about Synology's, the Synology NAS servers. Basically, it's a network attached storage system. Now, if any of you have watched my my photo backup workflow tutorial thing that I've also got here on my YouTube channel, that involves the Synology. It's actually a little box thing that's down there. It's 8 bays where you can put hard drives in. Like actually, I never planned this, but I do actually have some, some of these normal 3.5-inch hard drives kind of thing. It has 8 bays to put 8 of these in. And then you plug an Ethernet cable into it, and it's got all sorts of software and stuff like that. And you can connect to it, I can connect to it on my phone, on my laptop here. And basically what I use the Synology for is online, for all my storage of pictures and the videos here that I finished. And then when I upload them, I take all the raw information that I had and I put them on there. But let's get to Diane's question. It's a pretty long email, so I'm just going to abbreviate here. She saw me that I actually put a comment on Scott's blog when he actually just bought his new NAS server, and he had RC Concepcion set it up for him. And she was asking about, let's have a, I have one, the 1813 Plus, which is the same model I have. So it's a nice big 8-bay system. It's not cheap, but it's very, very good. And it says, I'm sure I don't make as good of a use of it as I could. It would be cool if I could see some users share their practical knowledge, since I find that a lot of the Synology information to be overly technical. For example, what add-ons do you use, why and why not? Have you upgraded to DSM 5.0? Now, for those that don't know, DSM is basically the operating system that Synology uses inside their boxes. When you log into a Synology, you literally do log in, and it has a whole interface. It looks like a Windows interface, actually. It's a very, very cool system. It says, she says, I haven't upgraded yet because I'm waiting for a couple of bug fixes first. Reading the Synology forums doesn't give me much confidence that they've probably debugged it yet. Now, that's why I said up front that this is actually from May, because I know from now, fairly recently, because I've been looking into DSM-5 a lot more, especially for this system down here, because I actually have another Synology back in the UK. They fixed a lot of the bugs and stuff with that with DSM-5. So first thing up front, Dan, if you can upgrade to DSM-5, I think it may be on 5.1. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But upgrade to it, because I used it on the other system that I have back in the UK, and it's great. There are a couple of bugs. I still do recognize that there are a couple of bugs, but it's mostly actually with their apps that they use. So like apps that you can get with a phone to connect to the system, those have got some bugs in it. So they're still working some of that stuff out, but in terms of the operating system itself on the box, it's absolutely fine. Now, good uses for it, practical knowledge, what do you use and why? I'm probably in the same boat as you. I don't use it as much as I probably could. There's a whole bunch of stuff I do want to try, but as you even pointed out here, Synology's information is quite technical, and even though it's very thorough, I've read a lot of the stuff, it is very thorough and it's very good, but it's also highly technical, and it's not something you can't just give yourself a 30-minute window and then go, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. Because there's stuff like you can create virtual private networks, which is important for people like us who in China, because we use VPNs to connect to social media, the outside world, because China have blocked Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. It's all blocked, and we use VPNs, and it'd be great to have my own VPN network based inside a server in our house in the UK, because we've got fiber optic internet, so it's really nice and fast fiber, and it would be a dedicated server just for us. But I didn't bother trying to do it, because I tried to do it just before I left for the last time I was in the UK, and it's so technical. There's so many steps you need to follow, it's just impossible. So I ended up leaving it. VPN is some stuff, is one thing that I do want to use. One thing I do use it a lot for, I use it obviously for backing up my photos and stuff like that, but it's really just when you go into I'm on Mac, so if you go into your Finder system, it just acts like a connected, like a plugged in hard drive kind of thing. You can go in your folders and all the rest of it, and I copy stuff over. If you want to know the technical uses that I use for, there's some software inside the Synology that, like if I've got, say like one hard drive and I want to make a duplicate of this hard drive onto this one, and I can set it up to copy stuff over. I think I have it set every day. If there's any new information, it just looks to see if there's any new or updated files, and then it copies that over to there. I don't actually know if that's in that tutorial or not. Probably not. If you're interested, if anybody is interested in me kind of showing you how I have my Synology system set up, please put it in the comments below, because I'll be happy to show you. It's probably not the most technical use of it, and I probably have done some things wrong, but I'd be happy to share with you. And of course, if anybody out there knows more about it than me, then I'll gain from doing that video as well. So that'd be awesome. But the thing that I use the Synology most for, specifically this one here that's just behind me, I use it basically as a media server. It's great to have all my photos and all my online videos and stuff backed up, but the thing I use mostly is media server, because I have a big DVD and Blu-ray collection, and also we're in China, so I'm gonna say it, there's a lot of fake DVDs here that you can buy, obviously. But I will stipulate that if I do find a DVD or a movie that I like, I will buy it in Blu-ray, and my mom can attest to this. There's oftentimes boxes of Amazon deliveries will come and it's just full of Blu-rays and DVDs. I've got 2 shelves here. You can see these units here. They both are completely full with Blu-rays, actually to the point now where I've got Blu-ray sitting on the floor behind me here in front of my TV, because I don't have any more storage space for them, so I need to buy more shelves for more DVDs. But what I do, I also have a desktop PC down here just below. I use that for all my gaming and stuff, because I don't game on my Mac because I'm not insane. But on there, it's a really powerful system, this computer. And I also use that to rip movies. So I use a software called DVD Fab, and I rip all my Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff like that. So I have a video file, a digital movie file, basically. And from there, I do that so I can put movies and stuff on my iPad, and when I travel a lot, because I watch a lot of movies, it's just the way I am. I love movies, so I'll put movies on my iPad and stuff like that. When I'm traveling, I'll watch them on a plane. But what I also use it for is so all the movies and stuff like that will be on my Synology, and then what I can do is I can go on an app on my phone and actually access the movies. So I can then go on using the Synology. I've got a whole bunch of their own apps. There's DS Video, DS Photo, DS Audio. I need to play around with the DS Photo one a little bit more, because actually I think that will be quite useful for a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, think of it as the auto upload function, for smartphones that Dropbox has. So whenever you take a picture on your phone, and then when you go into a Wi-Fi network and your Dropbox is set up on your phone, it will automatically upload those pictures to your Dropbox. Synology have their own basic system for that, and Synology have even got their own version of Dropbox. They've got a whole bunch of really, really cool software that I just don't use, simply because I don't necessarily need to use it yet. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff that once I see it and I try it, I'll fall in love with it. But the thing that I use most often is I use the DS Video app, which is great. Like it's stupid good. It's actually very surprising. I'll gloss over something, but there's some HD video files. I can't remember the name of them now. Damn, I can't remember the name of the files, but it's like what people often use for HD codecs for video files online when you download torrents. And you can't play them natively on the iPhone. But with the DS Video app, you can play them natively on your phone. I don't understand how, I don't understand why. It's magic, as far as I know. But one thing I use it for a lot, just to get back to it, is so I'll pick a movie, let's say The Dark Knight, because I watch that a lot because I'm a big Batman fan, as some of you have probably figured out by now. So I will play The Dark Knight on my phone, and I can watch it on my phone, but then what I can do, because I have an Apple TV connected to my television, I can then go, I want to play that onto my Apple TV, and it will throw it up onto my Apple TV, and I love that. That is the single coolest thing in the world to me. The fact that I can then go on a magic box, say I want to watch a movie, and then throw it onto my television using my phone. that is witchcraft as far as I'm concerned. And then I can use my phone, you know, just to go on Facebook and Twitter and emails and all the rest of it. So it still works as a normal phone, even when it's airplaying a movie. It's great. I love the Synology for that kind of thing. That's the main reason why I bought the Synology. If you were to use percentages, that's like 80% of the reason why. Because I just wanted something to store on my movies in a way that's going to be safe, and I'm going to have them for a long period of time, because, you know, I could lose a DVD could break or something like that, but with a digital file, as long as you have copies of it, it's pretty much safe for life. So again, I don't really use my Synology for a whole bunch of really technical stuff. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm missing out on, but that's what I use my Synology for. I use it mainly as a media server and also for all my backup of my photos. And again, if you want to see how I have my whole Synology server set up for my photos, because I have multiples, I have 2 drives in a RAID where all my pictures are in, and then I have another hard drive of the same size that then makes a clone of that. And then I also have this drive then sending to Amazon Glacier, which is a online cloud storage thing. I have that all set up. It's very cool. So highly recommend, I highly recommend the Synology systems if you are looking for a very solid backup system that you can just set up and leave. There's an occasional maintenance, obviously, and you need to check on it sometimes, and all that kind of fun jazz. But yeah, I think that pretty much answered your question there, Diane. Hopefully it was useful. And again, if you want to know more about Synology, just put it in the comments below, and I'll be happy to share with you guys, and maybe even make a separate whole video about that. So let's get on to the next question. Good old Matthew Griggs, he has given me another email, and it's actually a pretty good one, and it got me thinking about a lot. Well, it got me thinking about one thing in particular. It's kind of like a 2-part question thing, nice and quick. Where have you been in the world to take photos? Where do you want to go / planning to go, cough, cough, Australia? That's in the email, cough, cough, Australia. I think you're in Australia then, Matthew. I'm gonna guess that. But Australia has, well, let's do the first one. Where have I taken pictures in the world? Obviously, Shanghai. I'm here. Shanghai, Hong Kong, because I grew up in Hong Kong, for those that don't know, and I was actually there last week. Do that in a separate video, I'll get back to that. But Hong Kong, obviously Scotland, England, wherever you want to call it. Florida, mostly the Florida Keys, down south, you know, the whole Keys area, that really far south bit. And where else? A long time ago, when I really, like months into getting my first DSLR, the 40D with the Sigma 18-200, which I've talked about before in previous Q&As actually, me and my dad drove up the one freeway. It's like a coastal freeway in the west coast in the US, so in California. We drove up from, I'm trying to remember where. It's probably from the Seal Beach, Long Beach kind of area, all the way up to about an hour below San Francisco, I'd have to say. And that was like a 5-day trip, and I was just taking a whole bunch of pictures. I've probably got some pictures somewhere on this server. So I'll see if I can pull any of those up. Maybe I'll put them here in the screen. I'll put the best ones up. And we went to Big Sur and Hearst Castle and stuff like that, and that was really fun for me. That was a really, really cool trip. I'd love to go back there actually and do that again, like on my own terms, and go really nice and chill and take like a week or 2 just to go and shoot all the West Coast coastal stuff, because that's California's beautiful. And of course, land of skateboarding, so it's like... Okay, so where do you plan to go take pictures? It's funny actually, can I go on a very quick tangent here for a minute? Because he's obviously from Australia, and I was looking at my Google Analytics earlier in the week, and also my website analytics, because I do look at it occasionally. I don't look at it all that often, to be honest, but I looked at it simply because I had some time to spare. And besides the obvious UK and the United States being the 2 places that watch a lot of my videos, Australia is number 3. That's quite impressive to me. I don't know why. Is there a lot of Australians here watching these videos and stuff like that? If you're Australian or you're in Australia, put it in the comments below. I'd love to know if you're actually in Australia. Whereabouts in Australia are you? Because that's even more interesting to me. because I have actually thought about doing some Australia stuff, especially because we're actually relatively close to Australia here, obviously being in Shanghai. There's very few direct flights to places in Australia here. I don't think there's any actually from Shanghai. I'd have to check on that. But I know often you either have to fly from Shanghai to Hong Kong or Shanghai, Singapore, and then from there you can pretty much go to anywhere in Australia. I've been to Perth before. That was many, many years ago. That was to visit an ex-girlfriend. We'll gloss over that one. But I'd love to go back to Australia. We went when I was very, very, very young. I must have been no more than 6 or 7. When we first moved to Hong Kong, we did a 3-week-long trip, I think, in Australia. We drove around in an RV and we went to all these different RV camps and went to swimming pools and all the rest of it. I really don't remember all that much, but I just remember trying to find places with swimming pools, bizarrely. But I'd love to go back to Australia and spend some genuine time there, because you've got some amazing landscapes in Australia. Western Australia looks like it's got a whole bunch of cool stuff. I didn't look all that much into the east coast of Australia, but if you are in Australia and you know of good places to photograph, if there are iconic places in Australia to photograph, or if you think there's some place good nearby, put it in the comments. I'd love to know, because actually Australia is almost on the list for me. It's quite high up on the list of places that I'd like to go next. I'm now getting a bit more of a bug to travel and shoot a lot more, especially with the way Shanghai is right now, because I don't know if you can see, but it's terrible, terrible smoggy weather. Hold on, give me one sec, I need a drink. Sorry about that. But yeah, our weather is terrible and it's very unreliable to shoot, and I just want I want to go traveling and do more photo stuff. So Australia is definitely on the cards. Iceland, Greenland, I think is pretty much a prerequisite for photographers, because places up there are amazing. A lot of places in Europe I'd love to go to. If I ever end up back in the UK for whatever reason, that's a great hub to then go to all the different places in Europe. A friend of mine, Eric Bernskield, web developer, great guy. He's actually become a good friend of mine, and he was here a couple of weeks ago and he was showing me landscape shots that he had done in Sweden. It's Sweden. And there's some gorgeous, gorgeous places out there, and they're like 10 minutes from his house. So I'd love to do that. My buddy Andy Hughes, he's from Wales, and now that he did the trip up to Scotland with me and he spent a couple of days there, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the Scotland trip vlogs, and the last few vlogs have all got Andy in them, because he's a good friend of mine. I met him through Dave Clayton, and he is a very, very good photographer, Andy, and he's basically said whenever I want a trip down to Wales, let him know and I'll be able to go and do some photo trips with him. So Wales is probably on the cards at some point. As I said before, West Coast, California, I'd love to spend some time there and do some more shooting there, now that I haven't been there for 4.5 years probably. I haven't been there in a long, long time. So that would be really fun to do. Where else would I love to shoot? Actually, Thailand would probably be kind of up there. The whole Southeast Asia kind of thing, I'd love to spend a bit more time there. Ironically enough, I love to spend a good month in Hong Kong, because for those that don't know, Hong Kong is not just a piece of island. It's not just within China. There's a whole bunch of scattered islands, and it's all it's very islandy. There's lots of small islands dotted all over the place. And that's the thing I like most about Hong Kong, actually, is although it can be very much a city, it's chaotic, it's tall buildings and fast traffic, but you can go an hour in any direction out into the sea and it will be like a different world. And that's what I love about Hong Kong the most. And there's lots of really great locations out there. There's places like Lion Rock. There's a whole bunch. Actually, ironically enough, I was kind of looking at a whole bunch of places before, kind of as almost like a shot list in my Evernote program, just in case I ever managed to spend some time out there. But yeah, Hong Kong's probably on the list. Australia is probably number 1 on my list, though, if I'm honest. That's definitely a place I want to go to. So hit me up if you are in Australia. Let me know in the comments below and what good places to shoot are, because I'm definitely interested to know. I want to dig into that a little bit more. And the last question for this Q&A, because we are at 20 minutes, I actually just got from Bethany Briggs. This is probably going to be a quick one, because I think it's I've heard this before, and it's wrong. I just want to get that out there. I have a question about SD cards, and I was hoping you'd be able to answer it. I don't know a whole lot about SD cards, but I know enough to answer this question. I once heard that SD cards shouldn't be used very many times. Is this true? And if so, how often should they be replaced? Okay, first off, whoever says that's wrong. SD cards are flash memory. It's not like a hard drive where they will eventually fail. That's why these hard drives are here, is because these are dead hard drives, because I had to take them out of my desktop PC because they were dead. So these are mechanical moving parts. SD cards are flash memory. They will not die. What can happen sometimes is if you constantly, what's the word? You know, when you clear the memory, and you do a refresh of the card inside the camera, if you do that one too many times, you will have some problems with your SD card, simply because it only has so many writes, only so many rewrite cycles. But modern SD cards are very, very tough. They can go through washing machines and still be fine. So you don't need to worry about that using it very many times. Old SD cards were a bit more on the fragile side, and you couldn't use them as much, but really you don't need to worry about that. And how often should they be replaced? Replaced when they die. That's the thing with most. I mean, I've got SD cards going back several years and I use them and they're fine. Really, it's all it is. It's flash memory, it's not gonna die. What you can do actually is you can put, what some people do actually use SD cards for, especially the bigger sized SD cards, like the 64 gig kind of SD cards, because they're actually, I don't have, do I have any? Yes, I do. Give me one sec. This is probably going to jack up my computer here. But this is just your average standard SD card. This is a 32 gig card. Doesn't cost me very much. I think you can get 64 versions of this if I'm not mistaken. This is just a standard Kingston 32 gig card. But what people do is they use these as backups, because the flash memory is so reliable. You can put all your information in there, stick it in a drawer, and it will never fail. So don't worry about SD cards. Old SD cards, yes, you had some problems with it because that was new technology. It was flash memory. It was a brand new thing back in the day. But nowadays, these guys can go through washing machines. Literally, they can go through washing machines and they'll be absolutely fine. As long as you dry them out, stick them in your camera, they're fine to go. So don't worry about SD cards. Now, one thing I do want to get onto. She actually sent me this question via my website. If you go on my website, destructivepixels.com, now there is, if you look on the side, there's a tab saying questions. Now you can actually go in on my website, enter your name, email address, and your question, and you can send it right there. It's a little form. All you need to do is fill it out, rather than send me an email from, your Gmail, your Hotmail, or your Apple Mail, or if you still use Outlook, I feel my condolences to you. But you don't have to send me an email through any of them. You can just go on my website and send me the questions directly. So you do that. On my website, destructivepixels.com/questions, I think. I'm going to do a lower third, obviously, as always. I want to make sure that's correct. But yeah, she sent me that through my website. So that's great that some people are actually starting to use that. But if you want to send me an email the old-fashioned way via your email program of choice, you send the question to questions@destructivepixels.com. Again, lower third. And as always, thanks for sending your questions. I've actually ran out of questions now, and that's fine by me. I really don't mind. It's, if you have questions, then send them in. But until then, I won't be doing any Q&As until I get more questions. And that doesn't mean, Jay Gibson and Matthew Griggs, you just start sending in 800 questions about if I like iron brew and pork pies and haggis again. So I think that's pretty much answered all your questions. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. If you have, I would super appreciate you giving this a thumbs up. As always, that is very nice and supportive of you guys. And I think that's it. So hope you've enjoyed it. Catch you in the next one.